Hi, today we're going to talk about heavy metal detox and how to do that safely. Heavy metals in the brain and in the nervous system can cause so many symptoms. Tell us about it, Andrea. Well, I start washing my cilantro.
Heavy metals can cause all kinds of brain fatigue, brain fog, and all kinds of other uh, neuropsychological effects, from OCD to Tourette syndrome and psychosis, all kinds of oppositional defiant disorder, all kinds of things that you have going on in your brain.
Alzheimer's, dementia.
That's right. All of those things, heavy metals have an implication and are involved in. They've been implicated also in Alzheimer's. They say that they're not the same tangles, but that's just because there's other things going on. And it's not just aluminum. There's many, many other heavy metals and combinations that are in the brain. So those are not the only things, but those are most of the things in your brain that are going to cause trouble.
And medical medium explained that even though aluminum is not a heavy metal, it is a toxic metal, and that's why it's listed among the other toxic heavy metals.
Yes.
So I'm washing them with a few drops of 7th generation dish soap, which is safe for your veggies. I rinse them with tap water, and then I put them in my reverse osmosis water and right into the spinner. And I can do about 4 bunches that way. Get them nice and good. And while I'm rinsing them, I can usually pick out the dead leaves and anything that might not be cilantro. I've actually had some bunches that showed up with some weeds in them. So that's always fun. We're going to do the heavy metal detox juice that I do. This is a variation on the heavy metal detox smoothie, which we'll do later, probably in a second video. The juice that I do, the reason I do it is because I get the benefit of 2 different things. I get the heavy metal detox, and I also get the benefit of a nerve gut stabilizer brain shot. Now, a brain shot is some of the medicine that Anthony William talks about. He has several different brain shots that help with different things. But just cilantro when it's juiced, or just parsley when it's juiced, becomes a very stabilizing thing for the nerves and the gut. So we're back. We got our cilantro all washed. We're going to start juicing. I wanted you to notice that my juicer's not all the way clean today because this morning I did my celery juice. And although the celery juice has to be absolutely pure to have its medicinal qualities, the cilantro can go into the juicer and you don't have to clean it. And that's important for those of us that don't have energy to waste. So we're going to start juicing the cilantro. And one of the tricks is not do too big of a bunch at a time and put it stem first. And if you get the bunch size just right, the juicer will just pull it down and you don't have to use the stamper, and that's always nice and saves time. So I do like a little bit less than an inch in diameter, and sometimes there's some dead leaves in there. Just pull them out.
Right, well, so while that's going on, then I'm going to tell you all the great things about cilantro. Okay, so this is coming out of the Life-Changing Foods book, Anthony Williams' Life-Changing Foods book, on page 190 and 191. And cilantro is the go-to herb for heavy metal detoxification. Cilantro's magic in detoxifying the brain lies in the living water, in its stems and its leaves. This is a critical aspect of how it can travel past the blood-brain barrier. In this living water are mineral salts comprised of minerals such as sodium, potassium, and chloride, which are bound to potent phytochemicals. When they enter the body, these precious salts join natural highways of other mineral salts that travel through the bloodstream, lymph fluid, and spinal fluid. As they come up upon the amino acids glycine and glutamine in their travels, the mineral salts bind onto them, forming the ultimate neurotransmitters. The brain is a magnet for mineral salts, and when it draws up these precious mineral salt compounds from cilantro, a surprise package is attached: phytochemicals that deliberately remove toxic heavy metals from the brain, freeing up neurons from toxic heavy metal oxidized residue so that they can function at their best. While many people love the rich, savory flavor of cilantro, others get a bad taste in their mouths whenever they eat it. Try not to get caught up in the trend that theorizes that a dislike of cilantro has to do with genes. This genetic concept hasn't been studied widely enough. If it were, researchers would find that there is not a gene that determines whether or not a person has an aversion to cilantro. There are no genes that tell us not to eat a certain food. What's really going on with cilantro aversion? When a person perceives an abrupt, harsh flavor from the herb, it means that he or she has a higher oxidative rate of heavy metals in his or her system. This doesn't mean the person possesses a higher level of toxic heavy metals. Rather, the heavy metals, in this case usually a combination of aluminum, nickel, and or copper at whatever level in his or her body, are corroding rapidly. Corrosion means that there's a toxic runoff, which makes its way into a person's lymphatic system and saliva. The moment cilantro makes contact with the mouth, its phytochemicals start to bind onto any oxidative runoff they encounter. If there's a lot of this debris in a person's saliva, it can result in a harsh sensation when eating cilantro. In other words, if someone dislikes cilantro, there's a good chance she or he really needs it. Cilantro is also very valuable for extracting heavy metals and other toxins from other body systems and organs, particularly the liver. In fact, it's an amazing liver detoxifier in its own right. It's one of the best adrenal support herbs too, and wonderful for balancing blood glucose levels and staving off weight gain, brain fog, and memory issues. And just when you thought cilantro had enough flair and flash, it's also antiviral. Cilantro helps keep down levels of the Epstein-Barr virus, shingles, HHV6, cytomegalovirus, CMV, and other herpetic viruses in all their various forms, as well as HIV. It's also antibacterial. It helps to fight off virtually every form of bacteria and flush its waste from your body. Whether you like the taste of cilantro or not, parasites definitely don't like the taste of it. Cilantro is an incredible worm deterrent especially. For any chronic or mystery illness, whether diagnosed, misdiagnosed, or undiagnosed, cilantro is a must-have. There's a whole bunch of conditions, a whole bunch of symptoms that it addresses, and there's some emotional support and a spiritual lesson for each one of the foods in this book, and especially for cilantro. Now we're going to come back to our juicing here and see how we're doing. And as you can see,
halfway done.
It's almost halfway done on there, and it's coming out nice and dry too, which is amazing.
So tell us about the other ingredients in the detox juice.
Well, there's wild blueberries, Hawaiian spirulina, Atlantic dulse, and barley grass juice powder, oranges, and bananas. Okay? So in our Life-Changing Foods book, we're going back here, there is not only cilantro listed as a specific for emotional support and spiritual lesson, but we also have bananas and oranges. Here's bananas. Bananas are critical for nutrients for your neurotransmitter function, and they have the capacity to repel the growth of the retrovirus HIV. And they have a lot of a B12 enhancing.
But this is for the smoothie, not the
intense.
juice.
Yes, well, for the smoothie, right, that goes together and works with the cilantro in getting rid of heavy metals and pathogens and radiation and chemicals. It does everything. And oranges together with their glutathione and flavonoids and limonoids, they also fight off viruses. They protect the body from radiation damage, and they deactivate toxic heavy metals in the system. So they work together with those other ingredients in the smoothie for getting rid of heavy metals from your system. There's an emotional support and spiritual lesson for them too. And wild blueberries, as you can see, there's a lot about wild blueberries. For conditions, it's any condition. For symptoms, any symptom. Whether emotional, spiritual, or physical, blueberries are helpful. Blueberries are the superfood.
Wild blueberries.
And wild blueberries have 2,000 times more intelligence than your domesticated blueberries, which are the big old fat ones that are sweet. These ones, they're blue through and through, and they have amazing intelligence to grow back first after wildfires. They're adaptogenic, and they have cofactor adaptogenic amino acids. And we haven't even covered what cofactor means, but there's a whole nother level of nutrients in your body that are called cofactor nutrients. And they're an amazing, effective heavy metal detoxing food. And they're fantastic at removing all other unforgiving 4 factors too. So the other 4, of course, the 4 are chemicals and pathogens and heavy metal combinations and radiation. Okay, so they are also the most powerful brain food in existence, the most potent prebiotic there is, and a star at restoring the liver. Okay, you can read all about that as well. And then there's the 2 others, the barley grass juice powder, the Hawaiian spirulina, and the Atlantic dulse. And here is the spirulina, and it's on the website. And you can read it for yourself if you just look up medical medium and spirulina, and it gets a cool picture there. It talks about all of the compounds in spirulina that prevent disease, and it's got plenty of important nutrients and antioxidants, complex carbohydrates. It's got protein. It's got GLA, a compound found in breast milk that helps develop healthier babies. It's got beta carotene. It's iron rich. It's protein packed. It's a builder of beneficial flora. And here, its detoxification properties are a completely unique composition of phytonutrients, including chlorophyll and phycocyanin and polysaccharides that purge toxins from the body. Okay, so then they discovered that it got rid of that radiation from Chernobyl way back in the 80s, which is very cool. Okay, so then we go to barley grass juice powder. And barley grass juice powder is one of our most nutrient-rich foods in nature. And people have been using it since ancient times for its health effects. It aids in the removal of toxic heavy metals and other toxins. It's one of the 5 in the Heavy Metal Detox smoothie, which provides vital nutrients, helps prevent thyroid from atrophying, and it helps block EBV and other bugs from feeding on their favorite foods. And it contains those phytonutrients that feed the liver as well. And then there is Atlantic dulse, which is one of our Atlantic sea vegetables. But we'll look up that in a minute. We're just checking in to see where our cilantro's going.
We're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there. And look, it's filling up mostly the container.
This
So
is...
we might need to separate out container after a little.
We might. So I bought 10 bunches of cilantro today. I usually buy about 9 to make a week's worth of cilantro brain shots. And the reason that I do it this way, there's several. I find it hard to get to the store every single day to get another bunch of cilantro. And yet buying it for like a few days at a time or a week at a time, you run into the problem of how do you keep it fresh and and all of that, and storage room and your fridge and everything else. So the reason I do it this way is because I get the benefit of the brain shot as well as the detox, which I'm a big person on two birding, like, killing two birds with one stone. And this saves me a lot of time and energy doing my brain shots a week at a time. And then I freeze them. And I know that freezing the juice is not quite as good as fresh, but it still is good. And so we're done. Let's get that recipe down there. And, I've gone back and forth with people in the medical medium program about, well, if you have to strain your brain shots or not. And it's kind of a mixed opinion. So if you don't want to strain your cilantro, you don't absolutely have to. But what we're going to do is pour it into my shot glasses. And while I'm doing that, Andrea can tell you about dulse.
All right. So Atlantic dulse helps remove toxic heavy metals, radiation, and other toxins. It is also one of the 5 key foods in the medical medium Heavy Metal Detox. It protects against pathogens such as EBV. It contains beneficial bioactive iodine. It is helpful for your thyroid problems, and it's helpful for any type of illness. How are we doing?
Okay, we got actually 8 shots out of 9 bunches, which is really, really good.
Right.
So we're gonna put lids on those and get them in the freezer. And is there anything we didn't cover about? Yes, we got to do. I'll show you how we do the juice. So once I've had my brain shot in the morning, after my celery juice and lemon water, of course. Come on over here. I wait 15 minutes for the brain shot to work, and then I make the rest of my ingredients for the Heavy Metal Detox. So we've got your wild blueberries in the form of Wyman's wild blueberry juice, and 2 ounces is the suggested amount. We've got the powders, and I use the liquid Atlantic dulse, 2 dropperfuls, which is what I will also put in the smoothie when we make the smoothie. So 2 dropperfuls of dulse, a teaspoon of spirulina, and a teaspoon of barley grass juice powder. Now, I want you to notice that it's barley grass juice powder. Don't get barley grass powder, okay? It's got to be the powder from the juice. It makes a difference. Okay, so we've had our cilantro as a separate brain shot. Now we've had the other 4 ingredients. And another reason I like to do it this way is because I can get this down in 2 gulps. 2 or 3, instead of working on a large smoothie.
And then you can have bananas and oranges and other things.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't have to wait. I can eat some bananas or oranges or whatever. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Oh, it's so delicious.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, look at that.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It usually makes, what do you think, about 20 ounces, something like that? Do this every day. Goodbye, toxic heavy metals.
Goodbye.
Ready? Do I have a purple mustache?
You look great. Good job.